Number one said, "Oh my God, that joke needs to be removed."
Yo, man, that right there is one of the funniest shows you're going to be able to watch. A great time to be watching it, too. To Tell the Truth, airing Thursdays at 10 p.m. on ABC, which somebody who we met as an actor, but it's turned out to be one of the top-notch A-list hosts in the game. The one and only Anthony Anderson is back. Anthony,
what up? Well, you know what? I swear, I'm learning from you, brother. I'm taking a page from your book.
Oh, shit,
you were the greatest radio host, so I just took what you did in radio and flipped it to TV.
Oh, man, damn, and you did something. Now, what I got to learn how to do and take out from your book is how to get paid on that level. That's the difference. Well, I didn't.
Okay, well, hey, Flex, Sway, I got you. I'm going to help you get that paper.
Help me get that paper, Ant. Come on, we known each other too long for me to be walking around with second-rate tennis shoes. And
Listen, I'm a witness to all of this.
I was listening to the brother before me, David
Johnson.
I just want to commend him for what he's doing and how he's turning his life around, man. So everybody listening, go out and what's it called? San Quentin Mixtape Volume 1?
Yeah, that's it, bro.
Yeah, y'all go get that, man. To support these brothers and let's help them turn their lives around. We know what he didn't do when he first got out. He didn't watch Blackish because he don't know who the hell I am.
Yo.
Oh, no. You heard that part.
And he said the first thing he did was call his son. What he didn't say is that the first thing he did was call his son not collect. So, David, I got jokes for you, dog. I got jokes for you. You need to know who the hell I am. I know who you are.
How you gonna throw a shot at a man who just got out on parole, man? Come on.
I know he can't shoot back.
Why are you taking advantage of a changed man, Andrew?
I'm supporting that brother. I'm supporting that brother. Like I say, I love what he's doing and what the message is, and I'm supporting him. So I'm going out. I'm going online right now as soon as we hang up to get San Quentin Mixtapes Volume 1.
That's interesting. I did not expect him to say he did not know who you were, but he's been behind bars for years, and so.
Hey, brother, he had more pertinent things that he needed to deal with, you know, and those things were changing his life, changing others' lives around him, and bettering his surroundings. So television, hey, brother, I ain't got a problem with that. Like I say, I commend the brother for doing what he's doing right now, for doing what he was doing while he was incarcerated.
Yeah.
And bringing that to the outside.
Yeah, that program. I'm curious, though, but with you, Ant, it's interesting because a lot of people are known for the characters they play, and you've played a lot of funny characters, man. I see even a lot of the older characters, old clips, you look totally different to now, all the different variety of characters. But is there one that people know you for the most now, or they just know you mostly as being Anthony Anderson?
I think, mostly for being Anthony Anderson, man. I mean, we can talk about the Kangaroo Jacks. We can talk about stuff like that. I've been fortunate in my career to be a part of some huge, successful films and franchises. So, I think people just, know me as Anthony Anderson.
Deputy Perkins was one of my favorite dudes, too.
Anybody named Anthony, it should be great, dog.
It should be great. Tracy, go ahead, jump in, man. Ant here. Anthony Anderson. Y'all want to talk with him? 888-742-3345.
Anthony, first and foremost, I want to check in on your beard because it's looking so healthy out here in quarantine. I see that you haven't dyed it. I see you haven't cut it. You've been just letting it flow out with its natural growth. How does it feel to have this extra hair on your cheeks?
You know what? I'm allowing my beard to live its best life, Tracy.
Exactly.
Fortunately for our show, we wrapped our season a week before all hell broke loose. And what my plan was, this entire 4-month hiatus that I was going to have before we went back to work, was just to travel, play golf, and let my beard grow. And 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Travel had to be shut down, but I'm still out there playing golf, and I'm letting my beard grow in all of its splendor. And I wasn't going to dye it until it was time to go back to work. So that's what I'm doing. I'm letting it live its best life.
Letting it live its best life.
Flourish game strong. And I'm also curious, and going back, I know we were joking around a bit when it came with David not being familiar with your work, but Because there are a lot of celebrities who, if there's one aspect of this game that they would be okay with letting go, it's the fame part of it. Not the creative work, definitely ain't gonna be the money, but it's the fame aspect. And so I wonder for you, because the majority of us know you on a first name basis, we're more connected to you than necessarily the names of the characters that you're playing. How important is fame, like people knowing you, to this game of your career? You know what? I would be lying if I said at one point in my career that I didn't say I want to be famous. But, you got to be careful what you ask for, because with fame, you lose your anonymity, and in losing that, you lose your privacy. Everybody wants, a peek in your life. But, unfortunately, you can't have one without the other. We do what we do so people can recognize the work and see what you're doing. But along with, being successful at what you do comes those other trappings, of fame, of people knowing who you are. People, some certain people you can't call and make reservations because your name is so synonymous with who you are and what you do. And so when you do that, paparazzi's, I'm not saying this is for me, is the case, but, like Michael Jordan can't go out and make a reservation for Michael Jordan. Yeah. Michael Jackson couldn't go out and make a reservation for Michael Jackson. Sway can't go out and make a reservation for Sway.
Oh, come on. I appreciate that, Ant, man. Give him a round of applause for trying to gas me up right there. I appreciate that.
Right. He makes me do them, Anthony. That's what happens.
Hey, you my man, Anthony Anderson, man. I tell you, man. And it's funny because I see that picture of you and MJ on your Instagram, and not many people got a picture with MJ like that, Michael Jordan. I got me one too, Ant.
Okay, see, I knew you were part of the elite. Sway.
Oh my!
I got me one.
Hey. In my Kanye voice, how, Sway? How? How did you get that picture, Sway?
Yo, he came up to me and talked to me and shit. Heather made me take the picture. I was like, I'm not gonna ask him for a picture. And then
hey, man, those of us who know MJ know that he's a cool brother, man.
Yeah.
Contrary to what people may say who don't know him, who just, read the blogs and read whatever. I know the man personally, and he's a solid brother.
He getting a lot of backlash from the Last Dance series and everything that happened between him and Isaiah Thomas not being on the Dream Team. And folks are saying he got caught in a lie when he said it wasn't him. He wasn't the reason because of it. And it's almost like it's interesting how these moments, people take a moment and define your whole existence by that one moment, and what were your thoughts on that when it did come out, when they revealed the recording of him talking about that in 2011?
You know what, man? I watched it and found and had a newfound respect for him as a player. Just how he forced himself into greatness and forced others around him to be great. And I honestly believe if he did have anything to do with that Isaiah issue, he would own up to that. I honestly believe that. So that's just my belief. I don't believe he was caught in a lie. And he was like, look, if y'all want me to be the bad guy, I'll hold the bag on that. But that wasn't my decision. And I believe him on that. Who wouldn't want to play for their country? In the Olympics and represent the United States of America and come home with gold. We don't get along. I've worked with people who I don't get along with, and people have worked with me who don't get along with me. But we come together for the greater good and do what we need to do.
I've gotten to a point in my career where I don't want to work around people I don't get along with.
Right.
And I'm gonna say it out loud, and I don't, it's like if you in my close work circle, if I don't get along with, it's just life is too short.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But sometimes we have to do what we have to do. We have to pivot and we have to make adjustments just for that small period in time.
Yeah.
We can tolerate things for a small period of time so we all can be great together. And then we can go off and do our own separate thing.
That's interesting. Well, go ahead.
Thank you. It's just something sparked in me because we've just been having conversations about how to, if you bring this dialogue into workspaces, you know, and this is obviously a part of us dealing with the tragedy of George Floyd. And so I'm wondering, in Hollywood, let's just say for you, Ant, because you are a producer as well, would you be able to hire somebody, let's just say a white actor who you know has been silent on this issue, but their skill would kill it in a role? Is that something that would be hard to reckon with? Do you think maybe you hire the person, but then you have a conversation with them about it? Does that make sense?
And it does, but you know, we all work with people. We all are in contact with people who have a different set of beliefs than what we do. Yeah. You know, just because someone is silent about a tragedy, an injustice, doesn't necessarily mean that they don't care, that they're not empathetic or sympathetic. We don't know what they're doing in their private lives to help this situation. Mm-hmm. You know, so I separate the two, just like you separate church and state. You know, one has nothing to do with the other. You know, but I would like for people that are in my close proximity that I'm working with would be aligned with me, just like I would be aligned with them, you know, when an injustice occurs. But everyone isn't built like that. Everyone handles situations differently, and we can't judge them because of how they're handling something, because of how they're processing something.
Anthony Anderson has joined us, man. Tomorrow, Thursday nights, 10 p.m. on ABC, To Tell the Truth. What a funny show. Guest stars this season will include Joel McHale, Yara Shahidi, Michael Ealy, Patti LaBelle, Deion Sanders, Shannon Sharp. I love that you do this show, man. It's just to me, I always love game shows anyway, or game show type environments. And you get a chance to see some of these folks in ways that you don't normally get to see them. And I think you bring out the best in folks. And I was talking, we had Tracy Ellis Ross on the show not too long ago, and we were really trying to dig her and see, could she give us some dirt on you? And
just keeping it a buck with you.
You know, I was really like, you know, trying to really get it in there, you know, like, and we started talking about her relationship because it's the success of Blackish getting renewed for a 7th season. You know, this is incredible. And we asked her, how has your relationship with this guy, Anthony Anderson, evolved along the way? And here's what Tracy Ellis Ross had to say.
Okay.
It's such a family. I mean, I texted Anthony the other day. I was like, I miss you. Like, I joke with Anthony because the two of us have played married. I've played married to him longer than I've been in any relationship. And I've never been to his house. He's never been to my house. We've never been to dinner with just the two of us. We barely talk on the phone, but we spend all this time together and respecting each other's process and not even rolling our eyes at each other. Anthony knows when I'm being Tracy, he just kind of steps aside. When he's being Anthony, I step aside, let him do his thing. You know what I mean? And it's just a really amazing journey we've had together while making great television.
You've been paired up with a lot of great people. You've worked with a lot of great cast ensembles. How would you describe this particular dynamic between the characters you and Tracy play, not just as characters, but you guys as people?
The best dynamic that I've had in my career thus far. Mm-hmm. You know, there was a synergy. I've known Tracy for years, way before we started Blackish together. But there was a synergy between Tracy and I when she walked into the room for her audition for me in Kenya. And when Tracy walked in and did her audition, before she left, I told her to go outside and tell all the other actresses they can go home because the role was hers. And that has translated into the last 7 years of us working together. And she's not lying. She's never been to my home. I've been to her home once to pick her up, to take her to an event. We don't spend much time on the phone together, but we spend 14 hours a day, 8 months a year together. And yeah, and I love her immensely. And she did send me a text a few days ago just saying she missed me, and I miss her as well. I miss that dynamic that we share. I wish all of my relationships, personal and professional, could be like the relationship that Tracy and I share. It's truly a joy to come to work with not only her, but the entire cast, from the children to Lawrence to Jennifer to Dion to Peter to Jeff. I couldn't ask for a better cast to work with every day. And, unfortunately, this show is going to have to come to an end. But until then, we're going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off.
All right. Do you ever concern yourself about that, if it's when it does come to an end? Because some of these shows come to an end, they have a great run, but that finale is always like anticlimactic. The finale doesn't live up to the legacy. Do you ever concern yourself with that?
No, I don't. I don't, because we've done some great. We will have done some great shows leading up to the last episode of whenever we do decide to ride off into the sunset. And that last show should not be a defining moment of what those previous 8, 9, 10 years should have been. You look at the last decade of the show that you've just watched, and it cannot be encapsulated in one final episode. So yeah, it could be a letdown and all that, but think about how you've been entertained for the last decade. That is what's going to carry you, not that last episode that you see of these this family, this cast or whatnot, because it would be impossible to end it the way that anybody wants it to end. Because one, you don't want it to end, so the ending will never be what you want it to be.
Anthony Anderson is here, man, dropping gems, boy.
Yep.
He's been locked up at home for a long time. Everything he's saying is potent.
Not locked up as long as David.
Don't do that.
Tape, volume 1, go get it.
Don't do that, man.
I'm dying. He was saving that one too. Ooh, wow.
We got Kenny on the line from Philadelphia. Good morning, Kenny. How you doing?
Hey, Ken.
I'm doing wonderful. Good morning. I'm calling Anthony Anderson. This is a social and golf question I wanted to ask you about. I met you years ago. You were playing with Alonzo Mourning when we played at Arnold Palmer's Bay Hill. You
Yes.
were with Tariq DeLavalotte's tournament, and you cost me the long drive competition, okay? You guys were talking a lot of shit, okay? And I was wondering, how do you synergize that with what events and what are you raising money for? And, yes, I'll have a Philadelphia crew there to support you. And what do you have planned your own in the future once we get past this whole pandemic thing? And I'll let Tariq know I spoke with you, and I want to come out and support you and talk shit and have a good trophy for the long drive competition, brother.
Okay, I appreciate that, brother. And I actually hosted that event for Tariq at Bay Hill that year. I have my own foundation, the Anderson Family Foundation. We've been around for the last 4 years now. I have my own golf tournament. Unfortunately, we had to postpone it this year. We have it down at Bighorn in Palm Springs, where I raise money for inner city grassroots programs, in particular in the city where I'm from, Compton, California.
Okay.
As well as Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, diabetes, and also the Boys and Girls Club of America. So that's what my foundation is doing. So for the last 3 years, we've raised over $1 million that benefit these programs for these inner city kids, black and brown, to have something to do and have something to look forward to in terms of bettering their education and after-school programs. So that's what I do personally. I'm also putting together a COVID-19 testing 2-day event in Compton and in Watts coming up in the next few weeks. I'm not sure when the date is, but just because of how this pandemic is hitting our communities the way that it is, I want people to come out and get free testing so they know if they have it, if they don't, if they carry antibodies, and to be careful and to help educate our community with regards to this pandemic. And then personally on the work front, coming back for season 7 of Blackish. Season 5 of To Tell the Truth with me and my mother just premiered last week, so we're all excited about that. And, you know, trying to make my mother a star. You know, my mother is the star of these 2 T-Mobile commercials with me right now, so we have more down the road in terms of allowing my mother to realize her dream. You know, my mother always wanted to be an actress, but, you know, she was a single mother at 18, raised me herself, so she had to put her dreams of becoming an actor on hold to raise an actor, not knowing that that's what she was doing. So for me to be in a position to allow my mother to shine is me paying it forward, and it's a beautiful feeling.
Hey, Kenny, thank you for your question, man, and hit him up on Instagram. Doris Anderson, she's a star. You ain't making her a star. Mama D's a star. You know. Hey, Kenny, thanks for your call. You're a citizen, okay?
Sway the motor.
Right.
My man Kenny.
Kenny probably couldn't hit a damn long drive if his life depended on it. That's why he didn't win.
Oh.
Right. Man, I love what you're doing with the testing. Once you get it set up, let me know so I could definitely send people that way in our audience in Compton and Watts and wherever you set up the COVID testing. And then also, and one of the reasons why your show Blackish has been so important is the way it touches on social issues, especially those and the different nuances and the different ways that it impacts the black community. And I'm curious, being a father right now, when we see what happened to George Floyd in front of our very eyes, and it's not the first time we've seen this, and it's hopefully it could be one of the last times we see anything like this, but we've been seeing these things, these sites, these horror sites for years now. What is it that you say to your kids? Have you spoken to your kids about this, and what kind of conversations have you had?
You know, man, I have a 24-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son, and it's unfortunate that we as black fathers have to have these type of conversations with our children, and in particular, our sons. The conversation that I had with my son years ago, it was basic. It was simple. It was, son, survive the encounter. Make it home. Because I can't do anything for you with you laying face down on the side of a road someplace. I said you comply, you do what you need to do to survive the encounter, and you make it home. And once you make it home, you and I and our legal team and whatever we need to put together will fight this injustice together. Mm-hmm. But make it home. Mm-hmm. And it saddens me to say that these are the conversations that we have to have with our sons, when no other family is having these conversations with their sons like this. Mm-hmm. That's what hurts.
Yeah.
You know, and to see the injustices of our young black and brown men played out on social media and in the news the way that they have been is fucking sad.
Yeah.
And horrific. And people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's why you have what's going on in places like Minneapolis right now with the unrest. You know, it's an unfortunate sight for all involved on both sides.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. Mm-hmm. You know, but we have to work together and fight together to find a better solution for what's been going on.
Absolutely. Anthony, man, I appreciate you, man. I tell you, it's healing to hear your voice, man. It's healing to hear your voice.
Thank you, brother. Thank
Absolutely.
you. I always appreciate the time that you make for me on Sway in the Morning, man. You and everybody at the station and on your show, you know I love you guys dearly from the bottom of my heart.
Absolutely. I told Heather B you said what up.
Please do. Where is she? Is she cooking someplace? Yeah. Washing her chicken with soap and water and salt or something?
You know
somehow I knew.
Hey, bro, this is crazy, but in her neighborhood, like her internet is down. So, you know, the way we're doing this show, we're all in different locations.
Right.
And so we just sound like we're in one location. And her internet is down, so she's been having problems connecting all morning.
Oh, tell me this. Since she's not on the show because her internet is down, do you guys dock her pay?
No, I don't know.
It's called salary. Salary 101 for kids.
She's just telling you her internet down, man. She in the kitchen cooking some jambalaya right now.
He probably is. Yeah, but I tell you sent your love, all right, Ant?
Please do, brother.
Okay.
Please do.
Absolutely. Anthony Anderson, To Tell the Truth, Thursdays, 10 p.m. on ABC. Great time to be watching it, okay? It's a great show. You'll definitely enjoy it. Sit around with the family, enjoy it. Anthony, thank you, brother. As you know, you're a citizen.
Of Sway in the Morning.
My man, Anthony Anderson. Thanks, Anthony. Be safe.
No problem. Thanks, Sway. Thanks, Trey.
All right.
Much love.
Couple things up next. We got Movie Junkies with DB, and then we're going to hit you with a little bit of political news with Mike Muse. Sway in the Morning. Stay with